Alright, welcome to another tutorial video about Hypernodes. And this video's topic is about custom clients. So last video we talked about Discord bots. Discord bots are a client for these graphs. And we saw that they would respond as this graph here. And that's the purpose of this tool, to be the brain, so to speak, of calling one of these graphs is about as easy as calling the OpenAI API. And these graphs have a lot of features that make OpenAI's models or other models a lot more powerful. So let's take a look at calling these graphs from your own code. And to do that, we can go to the API section. Maybe in future versions we'll have more documentation under this API. You'll have a link to this page within that documentation. And, well, this is a list of all the functions, and most of these functions are used by this editor here for creating graphs, debugging graphs. So there's flows for if you click run here, this app will actually get data back about all the connections as well and what's flowing between them. So there's a lot of different, like adding value to the key, creating a new key. All of those things are for making a tool. There's only a few functions you need to know if you want to call a graph and use this editor. And I won't cover building your own editor. That's a pretty significant task, but you're welcome to try and take that on your own as well. If you're not satisfied with this editor, I won't complain. You can even resell it, resell tokens. But anyway, let's go back to run a graph. Here's the information you need to run a graph. You can click try it out and actually run the graph from this user interface as well. So first we need a graph name. Graph name, you should know where to get that. That's over here in save, basic. And graph username, that's my username here. And can have some input data. Input data is dialog. That's the name, and this is important. The name of this port here, dialog in this case. So dialog. And in this dialog object, we can put a list of strings. We can just say hi for now. That's our only conversation history. And there's no other ports there, no other inputs into the graph, so all we need is dialog. And then the funding key. Funding key is, that's over here in the settings. Paste that in. Let's see, do I want to tell you about polling? Polling is important to know, but we'll talk about that one later. So for now, we can just run the graph. Click execute, and let's see what it does. So here's the response. Very good. And this is also important. This is a curl request, so you can call this from a Linux command line or even Windows. The neat thing about this is you can actually post this in ChatGPT and it will convert it to your choice of programming language. So I'll show you how to do that. If you're building your own client, that makes it really easy. Basically just have ChatGPT do it for you. It's one of those things that it does really well. Especially GPT-4 is just gonna do it no problem. So here I have GPT-4. I'll just paste that curl request in, that same one, and I'll ask it to convert it to JavaScript. And here we go. It's just outputting this call, and I can just go ahead and put this in my browser console where I can execute JavaScript. And there we go. See? So this will work in any JavaScript. In your browser, I guess if you're having a server, you can do this from your server as well. Oh, one thing you should pay attention to is if you're gonna ship this product, you're not gonna want to just use this naked key, you know, that you use to edit your graph. You can use a different key. You can create another account as long as the username of the original graph and the name of the graph are the same. These are the ones that tell the server which graph to run. The key can run any graph, so I recommend using a key that doesn't have a graph attached to it when you're shipping it. And if you're really serious, you should contact us about getting a customer key that can only be used on specific graphs. Any case, back to the topic at hand, let's move on. So this is the most basic use of the Hypernodes graph, and it'll just reply with whatever is returned. But there are other features that maybe you would want to use in Hypernodes. For example, there's client functions. So let's say you want to use this graph. This is the more advanced Discord bot that is able to do more than one thing. Instead of just responding to every user message, it can decide, based on this dispatch node, whether it wants to say something, react, do something later, or just not talk at all. If you want a Discord bot that's going to pass the Turing test, you're going to need it to not respond to every single message. Nothing more robotic than responding, nothing more annoying too than responding to every message. Anyway, so you can see the issue with that is the graph always has to return something. So instead of taking the return value in this spot, we have these client functions, and these client functions, they're meant to call a function in your client, in your custom client. You can set up a series of functions, and based on the name of the function, which is passed in here, your client, hopefully, will direct it to the correct function. So the graph can call that function, depending on where it ends up in the graph. That's going to take a little bit extra from the API. So let's go back to the API page. And that's where the polling GUID comes in. When we're setting up this graph, we'll need two functions now. Well, first we need to set it up to call this graph. So you're going to want to get your own GUID from whatever method you have available to in your programming language. So here I can just ask ChatGPT. It doesn't have a library. All right, well there you have it. Apparently it's a bit of a pain in JavaScript. I'll just generate one from the browser for my experiment now, using this apparently less secure method. Just post it in here, and we're gonna do the poll result as well. So post it in here. Oh, I need to of course add a conversation. What is the way to do that? Let's see. We have conversation. Actually, we have a lot of things here. We have the data key, which currently is ignored. So in this particular graph, data is not used, but so that's the data key that all the Discord clients will send if you want to use a mailbox. But we still have it there in the graph because we need to receive the messages as well, the full messages. Like the emojis need the message ID if you're going to do a reaction. So it needs to parse the message ID from the full messages rather than just the conversation. We can just put in so we can just put in these full messages an ID so we can see if it decides to send a reaction. We can see it give us the ID in the client function. So let's just run this, and let's also run the polling. And it looks like it already had something. Yes, it did. So instead of replying, this bot decided to send a reaction to a reply. And in the Discord channel, we would see this as one of those emojis instead of a text response. And here you can see the ID that we put in the full messages. When you are polling for results, you always need to call it again. So you need to start, once you get a result, you execute it again. Because otherwise you might have issues with race conditions. You just, in general, want only one polling request out at one time, but you want to always have a polling request out. You would want to continue polling once you got the not found result. But we're not going to get any more results because we're not running the graph again. That's about it for the video. I hope you enjoy. Next we'll be talking about more in depth on how to build graphs, what the nodes do, some tips for prompt engineering. See you then.